Before we can use TransparentMeta to write metadata to audio files and to read and verify that metadata, we need to have private key cryptographic pairs. And this is what we're going to be doing in this video. I'm going to show you a script where you can easily generate cryptographic key pairs. We're back in TransparentMeta's codebase, and again we are here in the examples folder, and there's a script here called generate a key pair that does like what it says it does. And so let's analyze this. So let me just reduce this. So in this script we do three things. So first of all, we generate a new private public key pair, and we use this algorithm here that's sort of like standard, like in cryptographic signing at production level. And then we just like save the private key to a PEM file, and we do the same thing for the public key. Now, I'm sure you may be familiar with this PEM file extension, because that's like what you usually get when you store like your SSH private or public keys. Okay. So now let's jump to the code down here. So the first thing that we do, we import a bunch of utility functions, and these come directly from a crypto package in TransparentMeta, and specifically a module called key management that has a bunch of like utility functions for generating, loading, storing public and private keys. And so here we need three functions: so generate key pair, save private key to PEM file, and save public key to PEM file. Then we get the path. We actually assign the private key path, and that's like where we want to store our private key. And then we do the same thing for our public key path. And then we have our main function. So first of all, we run the logger, and we run it at debug level, so that we're going to get information about like all the steps in the creation and storing of these keys. And then we generate a new key pair, and we do that by calling generate key pair, and we get back like this tuple, so private key, that's the first, and then public key. And then we can save the private key to a PEM file just by simply calling the save private key to PEM file function. We pass the private key as the first argument and the private key save path as the second argument, and we can do the same thing for the public key, calling this time save public key to PEM file. Before we run this, an important note. So once you generate your private key and you store it, you want to store this securely, because this is like what you use for signing the metadata. So it's important that you keep it private. Whereas in the case of the public key, so you can share this freely, because it's just used for verifying that the signed metadata is actually trustworthy. Cool. So now let's run this. So I'm going to run the script, and so yep, you can see the logs with the generation of the pair and saving both private and public key. So let's just go and check out our examples folder. And so yeah, here we see these two files. So the private key PEM, where we're storing the private key, and the relative file for the public key. And these are going to be instrumental for the next video, where we're going to write for the first time metadata to an audio file.